AMN Drivetime is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit aishinaftermarket.com for more information.
Mike, welcome to AMN Drivetime.
Thank you, Bill.
We're glad to have you. So, Mike, let's start with a little bit about the company history of GB Reman. I understand there's an interesting story behind the company name, especially related to GB. Can you share the inside baseball about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So GB Remanufacturing started in 1986. My dad and I started the company, and where we got the name, interesting enough, my mom and dad are both from England, and they came over to Canada in 1956, and then came west to Southern California in 1961, and we just sort of thought, well, let's pay a little homage to our English roots, and we named the company GB in honor of Great Britain, and yeah, looking back at it, I'm glad that we did that, but I can tell you it's a it's a mouthful when you're answering the phones. But I'm very proud of the name and the company.
And so Mike, you're the second generation to run the family business. But as I understand it, it really wasn't your original career aspiration, right? You were pre-med at UC Santa Barbara. And how do you go from pre-med to running an auto parts business?
Yeah, well, you're right. You've done your research there, Bill. So I went to UC Santa Barbara straight out of high school, and I've always sort of been, I guess, caring and maybe nurturing, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to help people. So went to UC Santa Barbara, got into a bunch of the science courses, and quickly found out that that wasn't really my cup of tea. So I switched over to some business courses. I majored in marketing and finance, and so in 1986, like I said previously, I got a phone call 2 years into college, and my dad said, why don't you come on home for the weekend? I want to talk to you about something. It was very unclear of what he wanted to talk about. And that weekend, we sort of formed the ground base, I guess, for what would become GB Remanufacturing. So I switched colleges, I'm sorry, and came down and ended up taking a bunch of night courses to finally get my degree 6 years later. But yeah, that's how we formed GB, and I went from being a possible doctor, I guess, to a automotive parts remanufacturer.
What a difference a weekend can make.
Yes, I agree.
So, Mike, we're seeing, as you well know, a renewed enthusiasm for remanufacturing in the aftermarket today. What are your thoughts on this, and what role do you hope GB will play in this? And in addition, talk about remanufacturing and why it's such an important element of the sustainability conversation we're hearing a lot about in the last couple of years. And I think the drumbeat's getting louder and louder for it every day.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that statement for sure. So, remanufacturing, I guess, is, the ultimate environmentally friendly type of business. I mean, we take units that are previously deemed, either defective or just used, and remanufacture that to OEM specs or better sometimes, and it saves the environment. It saves the consumer a lot of money. And so, yeah, we're proud to be in this industry. And we're part of, like, well, what was formerly Mira. They just switched the name, but it's a division now of MEMA. So, we're a member of Mira. We've always been a member of APRA. And now I'm sort of proud to announce I was just named to the sustainability committee at AutoCare. And so, GB, we've always been a remanufacturer. That's all we do. And so, being involved in these groups and trying to get the word out, I think, on a national and international basis is very important to us. I mean, we do a lot of good things for the environment. Let's talk about it.
Terrific. You mentioned APRA. I remember we're about the same age. I'm a little older than you, but I remember one of the first guys I met in the business was Bill Gager.
Yeah.
Longtime head of APRA.
Well, Bill's a great guy, or was a great guy. He was a very good friend of my dad's, and it's just interesting. Reman Day was about 2 weeks ago, and we hosted APRA here. Joe Cripley called me up and asked. He said he was going to be in Southern California, and asked if he could come by and celebrate Reman Day with us. And so that was an honor to do that, be able to do that for him.
So, Mike, you were featured in the March print issue of Aftermarket News on the cover story on supplier perspectives. And one of the things you touched on is your commitment to keeping jobs related to GB here in the U.S. And just talk a little bit about that, if you would, and your thoughts behind that. And it's obviously important to you.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, I look back at, I don't know the exact time frame, Bill, but let's say 15, 20 years ago when the big push was to send everything overseas to save a buck or two. And, I look at, several of those companies that did that. And I don't think it actually worked out so well for them. And, they may have saved a little bit of money, but they also jeopardized their IP. And, that has always been a topic about foreign manufacturing. And so, I'm very happy keeping our production here in the States. Don't know if it'll always be in Southern California. It's not the greatest business environment in Southern California, but for right now, it's been working out, fantastic for our company. And it's just we're a very proud a U.S. company, and we want to keep it that way.
So obviously that's an important issue to you and an important issue to everybody, I think. And what other issues are top of mind for you right now for you and GB?
Well, I will say the labor environment's very challenging right now. I don't think that that's unique to us. Talking to many of my colleagues when I travel, they say the same thing. But it just seems like there's been a fundamental shift, in the labor force, and we try to provide a very nice place to work, and we do a lot we engage with our employees, and it just seems like the labor force has changed dramatically. So that's I would say that's one of our biggest challenges, I guess, right now.
I think to your point, I think it's a really good point, Mike, is that I think that everybody's feeling this throughout the country. And I don't know that anybody has a great handle on why and what happened here during the approximately 2 to 3 years of COVID. It feels like now, finally, in May of 23, COVID is officially behind us. But even a year or so ago, we were still wrestling with COVID to some degree, right? And I saw a piece in the Wall Street Journal recently, and I forget the 5 or 6 things it laid out. It didn't say one thing in particular, but they laid out these 5 or 6 different things that all added up to this labor challenge that everybody's feeling. And by the way, they didn't have a great solution for it.
Yeah, and I don't know what the solution is either. I mean, our labor costs have gone up dramatically, and I think that is a national issue, but it's escalated here in Southern California. Our wage rates have gone up dramatically over in the last 4 or 5 years, and they continue to go up. It's starting to slow, which is nice, but it's been challenging, and we, like I was saying, we try to provide a great environment to work in. We do a lot of our HR department plans a bunch of employee outings and events that we all participate in, and but it's still very, very challenging to retain these employees.
Yeah. So, Mike, on a personal side, a couple of questions. I understand that you're a loyal attendee of the Long Beach Grand Prix for many years. Tell us how this tradition started. How many times have you been?
Yeah, so my dad was always in the racing industry. He raced speedway back in England in the, I'd say maybe that was the late 40s, early 50s, and he's always had that passion. And so when my mom and dad moved to Southern California in 1975, the gentleman named Chris Pook brought racing to the streets of Long Beach, and the first race was a Formula 5000, and then the year after that, it switched from Formula 5000 to Formula One, which is the top racing in the entire world. And so we had Formula One here for several years, and my dad just always took myself and my brother, and it later sort of escalated to all of our friends, and now I bring my family every day or every year to the Grand Prix, and so yeah, since 1975, I've only missed 1 or 2 due to some work commitments, and I just love the sport.
What a great tradition!
Yeah.
Tradition. I've been to one F1 race. We went to Mexico City. Took my kids. Not last year, the year before. Very exciting experience.
Well, it's nice now that we have the Circuit of the Americas down in Austin, and then last year was the inaugural Miami event, and now next year, I think it's shortly before Apex, we're gonna have Formula One in Las Vegas.
Yes, we are.
So 3 opportunities to go to an F1 races just here in the U.S. So that's awesome.
And another personal question. You're an avid golfer. You're an avid skier, as am I, coincidentally. Any favorite places you like to do those things, or any things remaining on your bucket list where you want to do those things?
Well, my wife and I are fortunate to have a vacation home in Park City, Utah. So so I'm a little biased, I guess, towards some of the Utah resorts. But this last year, I tried. There's a resort there in Park City called the Canyons, and just a fantastic mountain. Had a ton of fun skiing that mountain. And I guess on the skiing side, I am going to be heading to Switzerland on vacation this year, and we're going to take the train up to Zermatt and ski Zermatt during the summertime on the glaciers. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
And what about golfing? You going to play any golf this summer? I guess it's always summer in Southern California, right? In Ohio, we get about 4 months of it.
We can, it was a rainy winter this year out here, and so we didn't get to golf as much as we normally would. But I guess my bucket list would, of course, be Augusta. Not quite sure how I can weasel my way onto that course, but would love to play Augusta. And there's Pine Valley. That's a great track that haven't played yet. And then I guess the final one would be out here on the West Coast, Cypress Point. That's got to be on a golfer's bucket list.
Yeah, those are the three big ones, that's for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been able to get onto any of those, Bill?
I have not.
No.
But
Yeah.
one day.
It would be unbelievable.
So, Michael, we're going to do something here we call lightning round on AMN Drive Time. And I'm going to ask you quick questions, and you're going to give me a quick answer. All right?
Sure.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Automatic or stick shift?
Automatic.
Air travel or road trip?
Air travel.
Sporting event or rock concert?
Sporting event.
Best place to watch Liverpool play?
Anfield, for sure.
I understand that you love to barbecue. Propane or charcoal?
Natural gas.
What's your favorite meal to barbecue?
Ooh, a nice ribeye.
Favorite year and model of Porsche?
2019 911 Ford GTS.
Got it. Mike, it's great to have you on AMN Drive Time. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Bill. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and I very, very much appreciate the opportunity.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit aishinaftermarket.com for more information.